Hey everyone, Rob Franick, Editor-in-Chief here at the Prince Review. Friends, we have talked a lot about changes to standardized tests, from the AP exam to the SAT, and I'm here today to go over 7 essential updates for the fall ACT exams. First on our list, ACT offered 3 fall test dates in September, 4 dates in October, and the final 2020 test date on December 12th of this year. You have until November 20th to register for that December exam. Second on our list, if you're registered for an upcoming test, be sure to monitor your registration status. This summer, around 1,400 test takers at approximately 21 sites were unable to take the July ACT. Going into fall and winter, ACT is still facing limitations with testing capacity in their centers, as well as cancellation. So FYI, my friends, cancellation decisions are not determined by the ACT, but by the test center's staff, according to CDC as well as local public health guidelines. Now, potential changes could include the closure of your test center, a reduction in capacity, or registration that is unlisted at a testing center. But how do you monitor your registration status? Well, good question, my friends. And that leads me, honestly, to my third point. You can find a list of canceled test centers on the ACT's website from the moment you register. ACT will also be sending email updates Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Central Time, to inform you of those changes to your registration. However, we advise that you still check the ACT website the morning of your test for any final updates. Fourth on our list of things that you should remember about the ACT is planning around those testing limitations. The ACT is planning around those testing limitations to secure additional space for students. The ACT is working with the following 3 different channels. Number 1, pop-up sites in the areas most affected by cancellations. Number 2, partnerships with commercial testing companies to share available space within your own communities. And number 3, collaboration with State Board of Regents, colleges, and universities as well, to help them administer on-campus testing for students, which would allow colleges to administer and then immediately self-score a test for students unable to take the ACT in a time to meet those colleges' deadlines. Fourth on the list, agreements with school districts to offer unlisted ACT test sites for their students. Now, fifth on that large list, in light of the pandemic, a huge number of four-year colleges and universities in the U.S. are now test optional or full-on test blind for fall of 2021 admission. Now, the Wall Street Journal also projects that at least a third fewer high school seniors are expected to take both the ACT and SAT this year. So, if you're not planning to take the ACT or you're simply unable to take the test, know that you're not alone and that the majority of colleges are prepared to work around those limitations. Sixth update is all about safety. Before you sit for the exam, you should familiarize yourself with the ACT's examee safety guidelines. Now, those test takers will still be required to wear a mask during the test day and adhere to socially distancing practices, remaining at least 6 feet apart during the test itself. Students will also be required to complete a COVID-19 health screening and a wellness check before being admitted to the test. Seventh, and my final update, friends, is about remote testing itself. Now, earlier this year, ACT announced that a remote proctoring option allowing students to take the ACT at their home on a computer would likely be available by the latter half of this year. Now, we know that many of you, as we have been eagerly waiting for that news about that remote exam. Now, to date, ACT still intends to provide a remote option as early as this winter. So, here's what we know so far. According to the ACT, the goal is for test takers to get the same support that they would normally get at a traditional testing center. So there will be a remote proctor facilitating the exam. To monitor for cheating, proctors will ask students to scan their room, including during the test, if needed. ABC News 6 spoke to Shane King. He's the Vice President of Global Operations at the ACT. He said that those test proctors will be scanning the entire room, the walls, the floors, the ceilings, the desk that students are sitting at, the chair that students are sitting on for any signs of suspicious activity, which will of course then be flagged and reported directly to the ACT. Now, we are all looking forward to learning more about this remote testing option, and of course, we'll continue to provide you up-to-the-minute updates as soon as we get them, as that information is released by ACT. Folks, our full team at the Princeton Review, we are all wishing ACT test takers across the land the best of luck. Know that we're rooting for you without question every step of the way, and if you're planning to take the ACT, please do subscribe to our channel for the latest updates on standardized tests, admission, of course, study tips, and much, much more. Thanks as always for watching. Rob Franek signing off for today.